All right, I will call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Kristen Cambenzi,
Here.
James Hewitt,
Here.
Jennifer Cliff, Jennifer Ray,
Here.
Cheryl Maddox Smith,
Here.
Jason Zadunik,
Here.
Glenn Sarka.
All right, I will entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
Make a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll second. All right, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, seconded by Ms. Ray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Superintendent's report. Mr. Lampman.
Thank you. Unfortunately, Mr. Sedgwick was not able to attend today's meeting. However, I was happy to sit in his place. And I would first of all like to thank everybody for coming out here this evening. Thank you to Cherry Creek Elementary for hosting the meeting today. I'd like to introduce Holly Musco, and oh, there you are. I've been looking around. Where's Waldo? There you are. I'd like to introduce Holly Musco, who's the principal of Cherry Creek Elementary. This is her first year as principal, and she's doing a fantastic job. So I'd like to invite you up to the podium, Holly, if you would care to say a few words.
Okay. Hello, for me. Thank you, everybody, for coming on such a nice, hot spring day and tolerating our lack of air conditioning in this room. But, I also wanted to say thank you to the school board for giving me this opportunity to serve Market Area Public Schools. Even just looking at even saying that, I can feel like the tears in my throat, which happened the first time I interviewed for a job with Market Area Public Schools. I am a Marquette graduate, born and raised. I started my career teaching in the Nice Community School District, and then as my own daughter neared her kindergarten year, I decided to throw my hat in and interviewed for a first grade teaching position, and have proudly served the district ever since. I did go to Marisa and did some teacher coaching for a couple of years, but really serving my community, and specifically I grew up in Chalkley Township, so being able to be here is really full circle coming home. School was home to me as a child, a second home. I always felt welcome and loved, and I hope that, you know, as I grow in my administrative role, that I can serve, you know, our community to my fullest potential. So thank you so much for this opportunity. I also wanted to just share a couple of highlights from our my first year here at Cherry Creek. I specifically chose two things because I think they relate to the support that we do receive from the Market Area Public Schools Board. Number one, our MTSS initiative. This is our first year, and I see the work in progress. I have two big words when I think of MTSS here at Cherry Creek. One is intention. Not that we didn't have intention in the work done before, but I really feel the intentionality of everything we do growing in the conversation, really intention towards the needs of our students. Also very collaborative. Teachers are coming to the table together more than ever, and especially accentuated coming back from the COVID years of being in isolation. My goal for the year as a building principal was just thinking about we're all back together again, welcoming families back through the doors, and welcoming teachers to the table. Not that I've done the very best job. It's my first year. I'm growing and learning and changing, but seeing our staff members meeting together more and more as the years progressed is really meaningful. And I am just so excited to see what we will be in 3 years from now because of this work. Within the MTSS, kind of zooming in a little more, we've piloted an assessment system, the FastBridge assessment system. And that has brought a lot of intentionality with how we use data to change the instruction that we're giving to students. I've never heard individuals talk about data so frequently and with such meaning. So that's been exciting. We've also purchased UFly, which is University of Florida Literacy Institute, a manual for systematic phonics instruction. And seeing teachers bravely, we always talk about risk in education. You have to take risk to get different results. And so many of our teachers have really put themselves into that place of risk and to try something new. But seeing that excitement and watching teachers bravely move into new directions is really exciting for me. And I'm also seeing a lot of benefit for our students. Another thing that we have changed is we have a student, every building has a student assistant team of some sort, where if we notice there is a need, a student has particular needs, we come to the table and invite individuals that could be of benefit. And through the MTSS process, we really modified that process, and I think we're coming to the table sooner to start talking about needs and what we can do differently for students. All of those things happened, I really do believe, because of the MTSS initiatives. I'd like to thank our board for supporting that for all of us. I think that we will reap tremendous reward over time. The second thing that I want to say that is really exciting here at Cherry Creek is our instructional coaching program. This was the first year for instructional coaches, and I'm sure folks are sharing with you how wonderful that has been. But I wanted to zoom into a few of the details of how it has impacted our school specifically. Number one, every teacher has been granted a thinking partner. And the work in education is overwhelming, and oftentimes it can be lonely, no matter how great your team is. To have a thinking partner, somebody who can sit down and talk to you and troubleshoot or celebrate beyond just your grade level partners is a huge benefit to educators, because the real improvements come from reflecting on what is done, and a coach can give you an opportunity to reflect that you might not give yourself in the day-to-day rapid pace of education in general. The second thing that instructional coaching has done specifically for our building is we are a relatively new team together. If you looked across our building, not all brand new teachers to education, but really we have many teachers in their first year or first few years here at Cherry Creek. And then you throw in the pandemic where we've been, pushed away from each other a bit. And our instructional coach has really facilitated teachers coming together more frequently, and that's beautiful. The teaming that I see and the collegiality that's growing because of instructional coach, I don't think would happen to the level that it has. And I'm going to thank our wonderful coach, Jennifer Erickson, for her work and dedication to our school and staff, and thank the board for allowing that to happen. Another thing is, as an elementary principal, there is not an assistant at this level. And so I can see a broad thing, the school more broadly, but our instructional coaches can too, and oftentimes that makes a partner for me, somebody that I can talk with. We don't talk about individuals, but we can talk about that system and where we see our system at right now and where we want it to go. Not that I couldn't do that to some level with classroom teachers, but that instructional coach is really in the work across the building, just like I will be, and so I have a partner in our instructional coach, and that's something very uniquely valuable to an elementary principal. So I could talk on and on. I'm very proud to be part of the Marquette Area Public Schools. I'm very, very proud to serve my local community, the families that I grew up with and around. So thank the board for giving me this opportunity. And I have a couple of our teachers here that I'd like to say a few words. We have Kelsey Wales, who's our 5th grade teacher. She's going to share a few facts that specifically relate to our 5th grade. Jennifer Erickson will speak on behalf of instructional coaching, and Abby Permal, one of our 2nd grade teachers, to talk about the positive impacts of efforts. So we'll invite Kelsey up. Thank you.
Kelsey Wales, I teach 5th grade here at Cherry Creek. And I just want to take a minute to thank the board and Mr. Sedgwick for supporting our 5th grade outdoor science education camp at Bay Cliff. We were able to spend 2 nights, 3 days last week. We were lucky to have the weather on our side this year. We went back to overnight, which we hadn't been able to do since COVID. We had 242 excited 5th graders. It was such a huge success. Mary Bengru was our director. She stepped down after retiring last year, and Yvonne Forbell took on the role along with Jillian Perry, another 5th grade teacher. The amount of energy, work, time, and effort that was put in was unbelievable, and the success just made every minute worth it. So I just want to thank the board for the support with this program, and we cannot wait for next year. All the planning's already started.
I have the opposite problem with everybody else. Well, welcome to Cherry Creek. My name is Jen Erickson. I am the instructional coach here at Cherry Creek. Holly took a lot of words that I had in my mind when she asked me to present. That word intention stuck out to me a lot. Just watching the planning that people are doing now within our building, especially built around that fast bridge assessment, has been tremendous. The word new stuck out to me. We have a new principal, we have new teachers, we have new instructional coaches, so much new in our building. And all the teachers have just accepted it with grace, and it has been so wonderful to see. Holly and I had the chance to sit down early last week and receive more training on student-centered coaching, and it was eye-opening, and I am so excited moving into next year as we look at focusing more on teachers and student growth and what we can do with some goal setting and get our students to reach their own goals. So we are looking forward to next year. Thank you.
I didn't pick the right height order. So my name is Abby Permal. I teach 2nd grade, and I had to write a couple things down. I was the one walking in with the wagon, the 2 little babies, so I've got a lot going on. But this year has been a huge year for my growth professionally, and the direct impact on my students and my future students has just been super empowering. I get really excited when I talk about it. I sit in meetings with Jen and my other teams, and I'm just like, let's go, let's do this. I actually began my teaching career back in Minnesota, and we did MTSS at that district. So when I came here, and I heard Mr. Sedgwick talking about that last year, I was 100% on board. I had already seen its effects. I already knew what we were ready to implement, and I was, let's do this. So MTSS is a multi-tiered support system that just helps meet kids. The goal of MTSS is that 80% of students are being able to access grade level curriculum. So 20% of your students might need intervention, but the majority of students are able to sit in the classroom and thrive and grow. So how we've been able to do that at our school is with FastBridge. We've been able to identify students in a really meaningful way. We've been able to look at their different scores that all come together to create a reader who's able to comprehend their reading, sound out words, and make meaning from the reading. I always tell parents in 2nd grade is this really big shift from we're not learning how to read anymore, but we're reading to learn, because we can sound out the words now, and we can understand what we're reading. It's not breaking down every sound of the word, which is really hard work that we as adults all take for granted. So I also got to take part in letters training this year, which is a state initiative that the board is also helping by giving teachers a $500 professional stipend to use. And I have used it this year. I'm halfway through my letters training, and I cannot stress its impact more. It is amazing. I have learned so much about the science and reading and all the bits and pieces of the rope that come together to make a reader that I've been able to use in my classroom like the next day. I have several other colleagues who are in the letters training, and we can just go on and on about the research and the data and talk about it. But how I've been able to use that this year is with the FastBridge testing we were able to do in the winter. We saw that 46% of second graders were at some risk or high risk for reading. That's based on the A reading test of FastBridge, which is one measure. And that was a lot. Again, I told you we want 80 to 20, not 46. So the second grade team sat down. We sat down with the title team, and we sat down with our instructional coaches, and we were like, we have a big job to do, like, let's get to it. So we worked together. We used UFly, we used FastBridge interventions, we used research that we found from the letters training, and we decided that we were going to meet as many students as possible, and we were going to deliver direct interventions that apply to what they needed. And we just did our spring testing, and we're from 46% to 26%, which is just, yeah, and that's just second grade, but I'm getting so, like, I think of all the little peanuts in my room that we sat with, and we worked on letter sounds, and then we worked on putting those together, and we were reading paragraphs, and one of my little readers today read me her story problems in math, and I've been reading them to her all year. And it's just huge. Like, to remove that barrier, that reading barrier, and to create readers is one of the most amazing parts of my job, and one of the reasons I love teaching primary. And primary is really where all that beginning work is laid. Your kindergarten, first and second grade years, like, we set the foundation, and to have the FastBridge testing so we can find those kids earlier, to have the UFly, which is a direct phonics instruction, like all those pieces coming together to work on a team that's ready to work together and dive in and make changes that might be uncomfortable but are for what's best for kids, have just been really empowering to me as an educator. Education is stressful. Education isn't always a walk in the park, but when you get to sit down with people that are on the same team as you, you get to see that growth. You get to see those kids' joy. Like, I would say it a lot, but it doesn't make it all work. So, thank you.
Well, thank you for that. That was a wonderful presentation. Thank you, Mrs. Musco, and all your staff for everything you do. You definitely have an impact on the students in the district, and you know, you're shaping, you know, a future generation. You're shaping the future. So thank you for that. And having said that, I have no other items to report this evening, so I will turn it back over.
All right, comments from the public, agenda items only. I believe all of the slips are for the second public comment. So we'll move on to approving the consent agenda. I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the consent agenda, which consists of the minutes of our regular meeting from April 17th, the personnel report dated May 2023, and also the financial reports from April 2023.
I'll support. All right, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, support by Ms. Ray. Any comments? Nope. All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passes. Board committee reports, executive committee, Mr. Hewitt.
Yeah, so we met last week on Thursday, myself, Ms. Kambenzi, and Mr. Sarka. And the topics that were discussed, a lot of them will be, I guess, brought up in a little bit greater detail under new business, but some of them included the district-wide safety drill that occurred last week. I'm sure anybody who has children in the district got the notifications. First were sent out an email, and then the actual system was tested to make sure that that communication, we had some enhancements included that would allow, in the event of an actual emergency, Mr. Sedgwick can now speak into the application during a real life event and have that message, in real time go out to everybody through that school-wide messaging system for text message, actual phone call, voice, email. So hopefully can keep parents and community members informed of what's happening. And so just another enhancement that we've been able to implement, very important. And the other topics that we went over, a lot of them kind of budget related and projects. We were looking at some bids that came in for the Graverette entrance repair project. A lot of the original facade of the Hewitt Street, Ohio Street entrance is kind of crumbling and falling off the building, so that's something that we had to address. On that similar topic, the stairs to central office. We had some quotes go out, bids go out. Or I don't know if we had a bid opening on that yet. I'm trying to remember if we maybe had some estimates, but maybe they hadn't been reviewed by our.
I'm sorry, we did have a bid opening on the stairs.
Gotcha. We also had another bid for MSHS CTE project. That was a grant application that's basically going to allow new flooring to be put into the high school in the pod area, and wonderful that it was funded by grant dollars. So we had that bid come in. We also discussed, which I think is still not in yet, but we had some transportation radio equipment upgrades that we're looking at. Again, kind of similar to that, not the parent messaging, but this would be the staff and administration being able to communicate better to one another, walkie-talkies, getting messages to buses, and kind of upgrades on that equipment. Additionally, we had, this has been kind of in discussion for a couple of months. Due to timing on new bus orders, we had been looking into the option of picking up some used school buses to help supplement our fleet, our aging fleet. And we had some quotes come in. We have a recommendation for some used bus purchases as well. We also, as we get every year, we had Marisa submits their annual budget to every school district that is covered by Marisa, and they ask for each of those units to approve their budget annually. So that's been provided to the board members for review, and will come up as an action item later on as well. Some additional things in discussion. Mr. Lampman and Mr. Collins, our food service director, have been planning on some different items that might, take effect next fall as far as school lunch is concerned. And then we also just kind of had a few discussion points on upcoming summer school. So I think that was about it. Feel I missed anything?
No, I think you got it all.
Okay.
Okay. Moving on to new business. Consider the acceptance of bid from Klossner Construction and Sales for Graverette Entrance Repairs Project. Mr. Lampman, do you have anything further for that?
We did competitively bid this project. We did receive one bid. We do have Mr. Rich Uren here who assisted in putting the bid specs together. If anybody has any questions as to the project, he's available to speak to it. If not, we would recommend the bid we did receive from Klossner Construction in the amount of $147,100.
I have a quick question. I know that a significant portion of this is the stonework.
Correct.
And there's, because it's architecturally to fit in with what already exists, so there's no way of kind of getting around what materials are used.
Right, so probably the majority of the cost is to remove the existing limestone and reinstall it, essentially. So that's we're not actually replacing that material. We're taking the stone panels that are there out, repairing the support system that's behind them, which is what's failing and allowing that stone to move, and then putting them back up. So that is
So it's
fairly
actual
expensive
stonework, yeah.
because
Okay.
it's historic masonry and it's somewhat specialized work. It's not run-of-the-mill masonry work.
I'm just curious. It's a significant portion, so thank
Yeah.
you.
What is the approximate square footage of the area that needs to be remediated?
I don't have that figure offhand.
Okay.
But if you look at it's the north and south entrances, the building, and if you look at those entrances, it's pretty much the entire surround around the doors is what we're working on.
The sides as well as above?
Right, it's all tied together, all that
Okay.
stonework. So, you know, the stuff above the doors is the area of most concern, of course, because that's moving. But it's that entire entrance we're gonna have to address. And then there is on the north entrance, we're replacing the concrete stairs as well. And there's a limestone cheek wall on each side of those that's also failing. So we're gonna reconstruct that as part of the work as well.
So this would be for the one entrance above, around the entrance as well as the stairs, correct?
Correct, on the north and the south entrances.
Thank you.
Any further questions? No? All right, then I would entertain a motion to accept the bid as presented.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Klausner.
I'll support.
All right, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, seconded by Ms. Ray. Any further comment? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, motion passes. All right. Consider acceptance of bid from Fraco Concrete Products for the CTE flooring replacement project. Mr. Lentman?
Thank you. Again, this is another project that we've bid out. We received one bid that came from Fraco Concrete Products, totaling $53,988. And we do have Kim Carr present. She's our business and technology teacher and our district CTE coordinator. If you have any questions, she's really the one kind of spearheading the project. If you wouldn't mind maybe taking the podium, please. Thank you.
Have a teacher voice.
Oh, you do? I'm sorry, I forgot I was speaking with the teacher.
Yes, go ahead, ask questions.
So explain the area where this is again?
Yeah, we're covering an area where currently has old carpeting that's been there for about 50 years.
Okay.
Stained and full of dust. And we create a lot of dust in that area because of the technology that's in that area. And then we looked at what would be best as far as a replacement. And we looked at possibly doing with Pemble an epoxy finish. And that was something that seemed to wear out really quickly with all the wheels and the equipment that we had. Because we did have an epoxy floor in one of those areas. So we I looked at the cost of what it would be square foot wise in comparison to LVT flooring, and it was very similar. And I also looked at other areas and other businesses and tried to get the square footage. Like my husband helped me out a little bit with that because he's a contractor. Overall, we decided that LVT is easy to replace. If we want to lift up a panel, we can replace that whenever. And of course, we will order more than is needed. Because I know we're hoping to do some construction projects in the future in that area. So we might have to replace some the entrances and such.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And it was about 6,000 square feet? Does that sound about right?
I think so, yeah. It's the upper pod on the makerspace side. There's three classrooms. One of them could almost be 2 classrooms. That's quite huge. And then Rhonda Manninens has the center pod downstairs, and she's replacing that area. In addition to, she has an instructional additional room where she pulls out students for
CPR training and additional things like that, so.
And just to be clear, Franco is supplying the flooring material as well as the installation, removal and
Yes.
installation, the whole project.
That's everything.
And it was all grant funded, correct?
It is, we were fortunate, we received an equipment grant the last 2 years. That was a lot larger than we had anticipated. And so we had these projects on the back burner as something we wanted to do in the future. And so it turned out to our benefit this year, and we found out in November, so we were quickly trying to get things together. And I think, went the wrong channels. I started doing the research myself and started to figure out what the costs were, and then I quickly realized the amount was going to be much larger, so it was less square footage. So,
Okay, well, thank you.
you're welcome.
All right, so I would consider the acceptance of the bid from Franco Concrete Products for the CTE flooring replacement project.
I'll make a motion to accept the bid from Franco Concrete for the CTE flooring replacement project.
I'll support.
All right, motion made by Ms. Hewitt, supported by, or Ms. Ray, supported by Mr. Hewitt. Sorry, you guys have been doing it the opposite way.
I
so-
know, we were throwing you.
It's like I wrote it down and I still read it backwards. All right, any further comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right. Consider acceptance of bid from Primo Construction Incorporated for Central Administration Office Stairs Replacement Project. Mr. Landon.
Thank you. As Mr. Hewitt stated during his comments, this is a project that has become a safety issue as identified by our owner's rep that we've been working with. The stairs going into the central admin office have been crumbling. The surface brick has deteriorated to the point it is collapsing. The concrete around the main support beam that holds up the roofing above the entryway, a huge chunk has come out. So it really is at this point a hazard that needs to be addressed. We bid this project out. We did have 2 bidders. The one bidder was Klossner Construction for $42,146. We also had Primo Construction bid $20,432. And our recommendation is to go with the low bidder, Primo Construction, $20,432.
Okay, does anyone have any comments, questions?
Can I add one more item? We would include a $5,000 contingency also on this project, just for any unknowns that pop up. I just want to make sure that's included.
Makes sense.
Okay.
And that's already written in the bid, right? We don't have to do that in the motion?
Correct.
Okay. All right, well, I'd make the motion to accept the bid from Primo.
I will support.
All right, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, support by Mr. Zadudnik. Any further comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. All right, consider the purchase of 2 used school buses from Midwest Transit Equipment. Mr. Lampman?
Yes, so I've reported to the board on several occasions that we do have an aging bus fleet, and a significant portion of our fleet, I believe 60% of our fleet has over 150,000 miles. I believe about a third of our fleet is over 200,000 miles. I'm going from memory here. I did not confirm that before the meeting. But it is an aging fleet. And right now, to source a new bus is 9 months to a year. And so we do have a need. So we've been exploring other options, such as purchasing used school buses. So in this case, we obtained quotes on some used buses. We've put that before the board with a recommendation to purchase 2 2021 International 71-passenger buses from Midwest Transit at a cost of $89,859 each. These would be delivered in late July, so it certainly cuts the time frame down. These buses have been currently leased out, so when they're off lease, we would get them. They do, because they're Michigan buses, they do meet Michigan standards, so there's a benefit there. So that would be our recommendation currently. And we do have Deb Fury here, also our transportation director, in case there's any additional questions the board may have.
Now, we currently are in a position where we have to loan school buses from other districts on occasion, correct?
In my 30 years, we've done it once. It was this year.
Okay. How many buses did we need to loan?
I think we had 3 and we only used.
Would you mind just so we can make sure that we capture everything on video? Thank you.
Yes, again, in the 30 years I've been here, this is the only time we've ever borrowed buses from another district. And we borrowed 3 and used 2. But it's kind of, we've entered into a new area of concern where we might have the bus drivers, but we don't have the vehicles. So this time of year when everyone is going on field trips, everyone, and athletic trips, and we have to literally conference every day to see if we have the vehicles, even though we have the drivers and the subs.
No brainer to me, right?
Yeah.
Do we have plans as far as purchasing new buses? I know that this is to get things up and running with used buses. Do we have a plan to get some new buses on order in connection or conjunction with the used, or are we going to be looking at new with the used? Do we have a plan as far as what we're looking at for that?
We do. We have had those discussions. There is right now, like I said, a 9-month to a year period where we would have to wait for a new bus purchase. So we're also exploring other options with used buses. So I think the plan moving forward will be a combination of both as we rebuild our transportation fleet.
And we do have 2 on order, don't we? I know that there was an issue with the special education bus, but.
We did place an order for a special needs bus back at the end of February. However, it just came to our attention that the company we ordered the bus through didn't place the order, did not inform us that the order wasn't placed, and now the cost has gone up significantly. So we're kind of reevaluating what we're going to do with the special needs bus. We're exploring an option of trying to find a used bus to purchase because, again, we're trying to fill an immediate need. And we're also looking at purchase, how we can move forward with purchasing a new bus. We'd have to go back to, the bid process too, because of the cost. So we've kind of been reacting to that. That was a kind of late in the week issue that came up last week. So
It's frustrating.
very much so.
Are any of these used buses, are they able to be retrofit to facilitate that need, given the order issues? Any of these, do we know? Or are we going to move forward with a new purchase?
I don't know how easily it would be to retrofit an existing bus to make a special needs bus. Our hope is that we could find one that's already designed in that manner.
And we're able to get by with the two, wait, we have 2 or 3 we have on hand right now? 2. Okay. But,
So no spares.
yeah. Okay. So that might be something we should try to,
Well, yeah,
Address.
this was last Friday.
yeah.
Well, and then one thing I'm curious about is it says that currently leased. Leasing buses, is that,
The buses we're recommending to purchase are currently on lease through this company. So their lease will be up soon, and we'll take possession through an outright purchase come July.
no, I meant, have we ever considered leasing?
Oh, have we considered leasing?
Yeah.
We actually Friday had that discussion.
Because I'm just wondering
Mrs.
if
Fury and
that's
I.
something that might help
Expedite things.
too.
It's an option that we've discussed exploring.
I mean, over the years, I think at one period of time, we did lease buses. But the optimum thing would be to purchase, to get on instead of replacing your entire fleet in 1 year, to keep it moving along. And that's how we got in trouble. We went like 12 years of never
Right,
buying buses.
yeah, when it was
But,
lean years in the district, we
Correct.
stopped buying buses, and now we're hurting because of that.
Right.
I mean, I think we've purchased at least 1 to 2 new buses in the past several years that we've been on board, I think.
And generally speaking, that's what was happening, then for a lot of years we didn't, and now it's, so even though now we might have the funds, we can't get the vehicles.
Right. Okay. Any further comments or questions?
Thanks.
Thank you.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to purchase 2 used buses from Midwest Transit Equipment.
I will make the motion to purchase the two buses from Midwest Transit.
I would
Used
support
buses.
that.
All right.
I'll support.
I think Mrs. Maddox
Oh,
Smith
sorry.
beat you to it.
I didn't hear it.
All right, so motion made by Mr. Zadinek and seconded by Mrs. Maddox Smith. Any further comments or questions? Or any comments, sorry. Hearing none. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, consider adoption of the resolution designating local districts election representative and designation of board's choice of candidate. Okay, I believe this is for Marisa.
I can speak to this.
Okay, thank you.
The board, at the last meeting, Marisa actually requires 2 resolutions. We already passed the first one at the last meeting. We designated Glenn Sarka as our person, and we designated Jennifer Cliff as our alternate. And now we need to redesignate them again the second time, if that's what the board wants to do, and also who we want them to vote for. There is only one candidate running for the seat. It's Mike Angeli. The board would be able to designate that they vote for Mike Angeli if they want, or whatever the board wants to do. But that would be what the motion would read. We'd be designating Glenn Sarka as our person to go. Our alternate would be Jennifer Cliff, and then whether, we should vote for.
I'm not sure that's easy to do.
Okay, so I would entertain a motion to designate Mr. Sarka as the district's proposed representative and Mrs. Clip as an alternate designated representative in the event that the designated representative is unable to attend and further desires to direct said representative and alternate to vote on behalf of the board for a specific candidate.
Can I cheat and just say I'll make that motion?
Yes, please.
And then put in the motion who you want to vote for.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
Okay.
And further, the motion would include to vote for Mike Angeli as the representative.
Okay.
I
for the open
support.
seat.
All right, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, supported by Ms. Ray. Any comments? All right, all those in favor?
I
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. On the back side. All right, consider adoption of resolution for local district consideration of Marisa's 2023-2024 budget. Mr. Laitman, do you have anything further for that?
There was, so this is, as was mentioned by Mr. Hewitt, this is an annual agenda item. Marquette Algerisa presents their budget to the local school districts each year, asking for a resolution. We have the option to either support their budget or not support their budget. However, our resolution is not binding on Marisa, so they can still pass their budget. One question that did come up during the executive committee meeting was regarding their supporting services in their budget. They had $10,405,000 listed as other support out of about a $20 million supporting services budget, so half of it was listed as other. And Marquette Algerisa did provide a breakout of that. And basically what that is it's fiscal agency grants that the RISA is managing on behalf of MDE for things such as schools, for the deaf, the blind, things of that nature. Those aren't expenditures that directly impact our district necessarily. If you're looking for a recommendation, I would recommend you support the resolution. And unless you have any questions, I have no additional comments at this time.
Okay. Any board member questions or comments about this? Sorry, we need a motion first, don't we?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to adopt a resolution to support Marisa's budget for 2023-2024.
I second that.
Okay, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, support by Mrs. Maddox Smith. Now, does anyone have any questions or comments regarding this? No? All right, all those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion passes. All right, comments from the public general. So I've got a little stack here. Jen Bleckner.
Hello again. My name is Jen Bleckner, and I live at 545 Fisher Street in Marquette. I'm here tonight as a representative of the Parents for Parapros in Marquette County to summarize the training portion of our paraprofessional recruitment and retention proposal. Based on Michigan's top 10 strategic education plans, guiding principles include families and communities are essential partners of teachers, support staff, and administrators in the education of students. We were hoping to be able to share a proposal on the agenda, but were denied the opportunity. However, we have copies of the proposal for your information and are open for questions at the end. Paraprofessionals perform a critical role for students with special needs as they provide instructional, behavioral, and other support both inside and outside of the classrooms. Based on a strategy brief on recruiting and retaining paraprofessionals, research indicates that using effective onboarding practices and providing ongoing educational opportunities is vital for support and retention. At this time, paraprofessionals are not being given consistent training prior to their first day on the job. Our proposal indicates that paraprofessionals should receive a minimum of 8 hours of training and orientation. Orientation may include a building tour where staff are provided with a building key and instructions on where to park, who, where to report to, etc. Reviewing a printed or digital copy of their paraprofessional handbook, including rights and responsibilities, instruction on true time for clocking in and out, protocols for incident and mandated reporting, including who's responsible for documentation, what is reported, signs and symptoms of physical, emotional, or sexual abuse, and information regarding building emergency drills. Mrs. Johnson, the special education coordinator, indicated that templates are provided for paraprofessionals for subplans, but they do not receive specific training on completing these plans or a specific place to keep them consistently. This should also be part of the orientation training. Based on an Education Week special report, an Ed Week survey found that 42% of paraprofessionals say they receive too little professional development. As you can see, this is a nationwide concern. When staff are placed in an educational setting without training, they can feel overwhelmed and undervalued. Training specific to tools used in their setting may also include the MTSS Tier 1 support that we talked about earlier to ensure classroom consistency and reduce problem behaviors. Special education eligibilities they might encounter in specific strategies, including but not limited to behavioral intervention training. With Marquette Elder Risa and MAPS collaborating for multi-tiered systems of support, this is an exciting time for training and strategies for all. To provide consistent implementation of strategies with the paraprofessionals, teaching staff, and other staff members, special education case managers should review relevant IEPs with paraprofessionals and general education staff, and paraprofessionals should be provided with hard copies of an IEP at a glance prior to working with a student with an IEP. This provides the staff with an opportunity to learn about the student and have strategies at hand for implementation. Annual training may also include Handle with Care de-escalation training within 30 days of start date, EpiPen usage and signs and symptoms of anaphylaxis, CPR and basic first aid and LICE protocol. Although this proposal specifically identifies training for paraprofessionals, we also want to note that training other staff such as custodians, cafeteria and front desk staff, and noon hour supervisors is also important for consistency and the overall feeling of competency. Throughout these training sessions, additional time should be provided for any questions or concerns staff may have with contact information for a follow-up if needed. As parents and community members within the MAPS school system, we know that the MAPS school board, the administration and staff work tirelessly to provide excellence in education for these students. It is each child's right as a human being to be understood, supported, and educated by staff that are trained properly. Thank you for your time and consideration.
Thank you. Tammy Wills.
Is here. So my name is Tammy Wills. I'm a graduate of Marquette Senior High School. I'm here to talk about the nickname issue. But I have to say everything that she said, and that it's quite a shock that that's not already happening. So again, what she said. So I first spoke on the nickname issue back in 2019. I can't believe it's 2023 and here we are. We've had 2 years of COVID, which was very intense. And a good reason for letting some things go. But I feel like it's really time that the school board revisits this issue. My husband and I have been watching the series 1923 with Harrison Ford, Glenn Mirren, and there are some boarding school scenes in there that are, too difficult to watch. And I thought, if I were a Native American sitting at home watching this, how would I feel? Would it trigger PTSD? 100%. And I know you've heard testimony from kids going into the schools with the Redmond nickname that they have been told that you're going to scalp your opponents at a game. You're a fine-looking squaw, or whatever. I should feel horrible even saying these things, but I think you cannot deny that this name has harm, and it's something that you are continuing to perpetuate. You're just kicking the can down the road because maybe you're uncomfortable, maybe you don't want to deal with it. But by you not taking responsibility for the positions of power that you hold, you are allowing harm to happen to children. And I understand that there are a lot of people who have Glory Day feelings about the Redmond nickname, and they have those memories, but I don't think Glory Day memories should trump harm that's happening to students today. And that is what you are allowing to happen. We've had 2 schools within Michigan within the last month. One has retired the nickname of Indians, and the other was the last school in the state to let go of the nickname of Redskins. And I'm wondering if you want your school's legacy to be one that was the last holdout of your racist Redmond nickname. I think our school deserves better, our students deserve better, and our community deserves better. So I want you to stand up to the plate and do better because our students deserve it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Lisa McBride?
Lisa McBride, 923 Wilson in Marquette. I'm here to ask for help to let the COVID kids, and particularly my daughter, with health issues, be allowed to walk for graduation. My daughter has been denied to walk on graduation. Even with doing the work, even with 4 summers of schoolwork, summer school credit recovery, even with ongoing health issues, even with 2 years of doctor's notes. My teen has been battling health issues for several years, COVID related. She excitedly picked up her cap and gown 3 weeks ago. And I left my dress. She has a dress and a pattern for graduation that she has had in her closet for years. I brought it along, but I forgot it on the chair. Since getting cap and gown in these last few weeks, she was told she couldn't walk for graduation. She is crushed. She shouldn't have to be singled out like this and still enduring health issues while putting in the work, while sacrificing 4 summers, including this upcoming summer. So she is doing the work. She deserves to walk if she continues her work and summer school weeks away. Kids with medical conditions should be allowed to walk for graduation, even if still completing requirements. If college kids can walk for graduation when they still have a semester left, even at NMU, that's the case. One can walk with still completing classes after the walking. So should high schoolers and kids with medical issues in high school. It is not her fault she got sick and health issues for 2 years. It is not her fault the principal chooses profit over progress this year, having waived credit recovery fee last year, but this year letting an outside agency pay for the credit recovery, which delayed it for 2 months, March and April, while waiting for that check to clear from the agency. My team spent March and April sitting at home, wanting to do homework, wanting to do the credit recovery that the school is telling her she needs to do. It is ridiculous that regular homework and credit recovery should be piled on at the same time, even with doctor's notes. Let my daughter walk for graduation. Fix this. She has been working and continuing to work through the summers. Let's help the struggling kids and not take such a momentous and social event away due to things out of her control. She deserves to walk on graduation, even knowing she still has work to do. Taking away graduation day does nothing for motivation to complete the ongoing homework that is expected of her. I'm asking for you guys to help and meet with the high school or the administration and allow this. It's not like she's not doing the work. That's it.
Thank you. Shilpa Jobalia?
Good evening, my name is Shilpa Jobalia and I live at 1085 Woodridge Avenue in Marquette Township. I'm here today as a member of Parents for Parapros in Marquette County. On behalf of our group, I will review the last 2 sections of our proposal, which includes wages and compensation on pages 6 and 7, along with administrative processes, policies, and procedures on page 7. The current MAPS paraprofessional starting wage is $11.50 an hour with no health benefits. In order to be eligible for benefits, staff need to work a minimum of 35.5 hours. However, most parapros work between 27 to 33.7 hours a week. We are proposing that starting wages be increased to $15 an hour with health benefits for staff working above 30 hours a week. Currently, MAPS parapros earn 2 PTO days, 9 holidays, up to 6 paid snow days, and accrued sick days. They do not get compensated for the days there is no school due to professional development, winter break, spring break, or summer break. During this past winter, our school district surpassed 6 snow days, resulting in our parapros not getting paid for the additional snow days. We propose that MAPS pay staff for all snow days. Additionally, that MAPS follows a similar recruitment and retention strategy as Phoenix School District and provide full compensation for professional development days, winter break, spring break, and summer break. The Phoenix School District reported that compensating staff during this summer after 1 year of employment was an excellent retention strategy for their district. They also compensate parapros starting at $17 an hour for the first 3 months of employment and thereafter increase to $20 an hour. We believe that parapros working in high-need classrooms such as ECSE, FSP, and Resource Room 3 should be paid a higher hourly wage due to the greater responsibilities than parapros in gen ed classrooms. These responsibilities include, but are not limited to, lifting students up for changing diapers, transferring students in and out of wheelchairs, managing feeding needs like feeding tubes, and watching students closely for possible elopement. Additionally, these staff are at a higher risk of injury, and so we propose an additional hourly wage of $3 an hour or starting wages at $18. Currently, parapros are not generally invited to IEP meetings. We ask that parapros be invited to IEP meetings with students' families as they are a vital part of the team. We ask for compensation for their time and valuable input. The final area of our proposal I would like to review are our suggestions for improved administrative processes, policies, and procedures. Currently, support staff reviews occur every other year if you have 3 or more years in. We propose that parapros should participate in an annual review to discuss concerns and identify professional development needs. Also, parapros are not usually included in emails regarding emergency protocols. We propose that parapro staff be included in all emails regarding emergency protocol like active shooter, intruder, fire, and tornado. Lastly, as there is no existing communication avenue for parapros to formally convene and provide constructive feedback, we suggest MAPS form a paraprofessional leadership committee. This committee would include 1 lead parapro from each building to communicate the ongoing needs and concerns of parapro staff. These leads can also serve in a mentor role for new parapros in their building. We recommend that this committee meets with administration on a quarterly basis. In conclusion, I just want to thank all the parents, community members, and most importantly, the parapros themselves who provided so much constructive feedback for how we can all work together to improve our school district. In all honesty, most of these meetings took place at 8, 9, 10, 11 p.m. at night on Zoom, and we really put our brain to work to figure this out and create this proposal for the board, for administration, and for anybody who'd like a copy. We have extra copies. We all care deeply for our students, and we hope that the board and the MAPS administration seriously consider implementing these parapro recruitment and retention strategies to start off the new academic year on the right foot. Thank you.
Thank you. Michael Joy?
Hello. First, I'd like to say I support the 4 speakers who spoke before me. You're a tough act to follow, and I apologize for veering off in a completely different direction. But I came here tonight. A few weeks ago, I emailed you about the MSHS Quiz Bowl team, and I suggested maybe you'd like to have a report on how the Quiz Bowl team did this year. I am nominating myself to give you the report. So here I am. I am the coach of the NMU Quiz Bowl team, and I have been for the last 14 years. And this year I was sort of an unofficial assistant coach for the MSHS team. And they had a great year, so here I am to tell you about it. First of all, you may be wondering, what is Quiz Bowl? It is a competitive team sport requiring members to quickly retrieve academic knowledge from the recesses of their brain without the benefit of the internet. So it's kind of a radical thing for the year 2023 to actually say, is it important to know the capital of Albania without having to look it up? And Quiz Bowl says yes, it is important to know that. And many, many, many other things as well. Topics include science, literature, history, mythology, government, philosophy, and every other human endeavor. Many MSHS students have gone on to play on my NMU Quiz Bowl team, including my leading scorer from this past academic year as an MSHS grad. You might be familiar with the High School Bowl program on Saturday night at 8 o'clock on Channel 13, hosted by Jim Koski. I recommend it to you. All of the episodes are also on their website. This year, the team at MSHS was coached, I believe, for the first time by Mr. Thomas from the English department at MSHS. And as a longtime Quiz Bowl coach, I can say he did a spectacular job, and I would like to recognize that publicly. He has a tremendous enthusiasm for the varsity sport of the mind, and he was very eager to work with new and returning players. And here are spoilers. I'm going to tell you what happened to the team, so you should still watch their games. The team had their best performance on a high school bowl since the 2010-2011 academic year. They won the first 5 games they played. It's a single elimination tournament, so cruelly, many teams, including MSHS last year, lose their first game and they're done for the year. This year, MSHS ran the table, made it to the finals. They played, who did they play? Kingsford, and they lost 230 to 210. So essentially by 2 questions out of the 44 questions that were asked in the match. It's an excellent match. If you've never seen Quiz Bowl before, I recommend you watch first the semifinal game and then the final game. And of note, by finishing runner-up, the team earns MSHS a $1,500 scholarship to NMU. So actually, tangible physical benefits for the school. In addition to the TV show, they played in 3 tournaments held at Michigan Tech and at NMU. And again, the team was a wonderful representative of MSHS. They finished second in 2 of those tournaments. And their cumulative record of the A-team was 22 wins and 4 losses. So I think this is a testimony to the spectacular teaching and learning that's going on at the school. We have many, many smart students. Watch the shows, you'll be just sort of incredulous at the things that these students know off the top of their head, literally. So first of all, I would encourage you to go to the website. You can watch years worth of Quiz Bowl if you want to. Maybe just the last 2 games. The second thing is I would encourage the district to consider finding a little bit more in the way of resources for the team. I was told, I think this is true, that the budget for the team was $35. I don't know if this is a standard issue student organization amount, but even just a little bit more devoted to that team would produce a lot of long-term results in terms of visibility and acquiring new players and letting them play more tournaments, buy practice questions, things like that. So that's my ask of the board and the administration tonight. So watch the shows. You just Google High School Bowl, you'll find them. They were great representatives of the school. I am biased. My son was on the team, but everyone was great. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. All right, moving on to board member comments. We'll start with Mrs. Maddox.
I didn't realize that we were done so quickly. Thank you all for coming out tonight. What a great turnout. I love seeing people from the community, and on such a beautiful day for y'all to be here in the library at Cherry Creek. That says a lot about how much you care about the schools. We see that, we hear it, and we just really appreciate you being here. Holly and your staff, what a great presentation. You guys are just setting the foundation for the success of our kids. And you know, we have a first grader in the system, and I know grade school is tough. You guys must feel so lonely. hearing the success and the passion that you guys are having for MTSS is just thrilling for me. And of course, I loved hearing about Bay Cliff. That just rocks. Mr. Lampman, thank you for disseminating all of that information. That was so much. Yeah, I just want to thank everybody for coming out. The Quiz Bowl update, I loved. I was on the Quiz Bowl when I was in high school, which was a really long time ago, and not in the Upper Peninsula. But being on the team was a great thing, and it's true. Without Google, like I use Google all the time now. So these kids are amazing, smart. What a testament to our school, our teachers, just our whole district. So thank you, everyone.
Mr. Zednik.
Just thank you to Mrs. Musco for, and your staff for the update on Cherry Creek Elementary. And just always great to hear about all the exciting positive updates that MAPS has and continues to make MAPS an asset for our students and our community. So just want to thank everyone for that, and hope everyone has a great day.
Ms. Wright?
Well, I started this morning off at 7:30 at Marquette Elder Lisa today for our community task force on mental health. Was there all morning, and then I get to end it here talking about MTSS and other issues that I appreciate everybody bringing to the table that are important and part of kind of everything I've been talking about and discussing today. And it's really great to be a year into this MTSS and to see what the community is doing outside of this, along with the schools. There's just a lot of hope out there that we are really addressing, along with you all being advocates, for our school system and the people working within it. That's really what we all need. It's going to take all of us to kind of turn around and really look at every child. And I'm encouraged and grateful and really excited that this continues on so many different levels. Today we listened to a number of presenters that are doing things from the hospital. We all think there's nothing going on out there. There's lots going on, and we talked about it all being silos and needing to collaborate, and what teachers are doing as a community we need to be doing. And I just thank you all for the hard work and everyone coming and advocating for the different things. But it's not just us, it's our community and our teachers, and I really appreciate it. And it's impressive what you all are doing here. You got me all very excited. I love hearing the stories. Thank you.
Mr. Hewitt?
Yeah, thanks to Cherry Creek for hosting and presenting. Appreciate everything that was said tonight. The only other thing I was just going to highlight was, as Mrs. Wales mentioned about 5th grade last week, the 7th graders are at Bay Cliff this week, and hopefully they have a fun time up there. But I've got nothing else to say other than that.
All right, board president comments. Thank you guys for having us here out at Cherry Creek. Poor Mrs. Musco, she had all 3 of my kids, and she's still in education. Way to go. I'm going to stick with it. Yes, my youngest went to 7th grade Bay Cliff today. He was not happy to go. So I'm just going to say a few extra, good luck, teachers, because they're going to need it this week. No, thank you everyone for coming out. We appreciate all of the support and comments. We're always listening, and it's good to see people passionate about what you're passionate about. Yeah, thank you. Okay, announcements and other meetings. Got a lot of fun stuff coming up in the next couple of weeks here. May 26th, last day for seniors. May 29th, Memorial Day, no school. May 30th, Marquette Alternative High School graduation at Kaufman Auditorium at 5:30. For those of you that haven't been to one, it's pretty spectacular what they do there. June 2nd, Marquette Senior High School graduation out at the MSHS football field at 6 p.m. June 5th, celebration to honor Teachers of the Year, Support Staff of the Year, and retirees in the high school library at 5. And then June 8th, last day of school, half day for all students. And June 26th, we'll be back at the library for our budget hearing and regular meeting. I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Support.
All right, motion made by Mr. Hewitt, support by Ms. Ray. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned.